As the world cautiously edges towards the possibility of peace in Ukraine, President Zelensky has issued a chilling warning that while the Kremlin discusses diplomacy, it intensifies war. His statement follows what the Ukraine has described as massive nationwide attacks involving over 130 drones, 23 ballistic and cruise missiles, and an alarming increase in guided aerial bombs across 6 regions. The attacks have killed at least 2 and wounded several others, including children, and struck civil infrastructure targets, including a foreign language broadcasting centre in Kyiv. Zelensky is unequivocal. He's declared that the number of Russian air attacks is increasing and that this escalation proves the pressure on Russia is still insufficient. He's characterized Moscow's strategy as not merely military, but theatrical, performative, terror as messaging. Every strike targets our people, our children. They are waging war against children playing on playgrounds. These are strikes against civilians. This is not emotional exaggeration. These strikes follow the massacre in Zelensky's hometown, where a missile killed 18 people, including 9 children, and such attacks punctuate any talk of peace with the brutal reminder that Russia views negotiation as theatre and warfare as policy. Meanwhile, diplomatic maneuvers are intensifying. US-Russian contacts are reportedly being planned for the coming week. Kirill Dmitriev, Putin's investment envoy, has hinted that some form of security guarantees might be considered, a notable rhetorical departure from Russia's earlier intransigence. Zelensky, however, remains skeptical. He's not opposed to negotiation, but he is adamant that there can be no easing of pressure so long as the Kremlin's bombs continue to fall. In his words, this is how Russia reveals its true intentions, to continue the terror for as long as the world allows it. On the ground, Russia claims to have captured Basivka, a village in Sumy, a rare cross-border gain into Ukrainian territory. This follows earlier claims in March of similar incursions, and while Ukraine disputes the permanence of these occupations, their symbolism is clear. Russia is demonstrating reach, even as it pretends to entertain ceasefires. And over the last week alone, Russia has launched over 1,460 guided bombs and nearly 670 drones. These are not rogue skirmishes. This is sustained pressure designed to undermine civilian and military morale, cripple infrastructure, and distort any semblance of normality within Ukraine's borders. So, what now? Zelensky has called for a reinforced Western response. He has engaged closely with British and French defence leaders, welcoming plans for a reassurance force, a contingent of foreign troops that could be deployed if and when a ceasefire agreement is reached. This builds on a proposal floated earlier by Keir Starmer and others to ensure any peace settlement has teeth. But this proposal is controversial. Moscow calls any foreign deployment unacceptable, yet the irony is glaring. Russia finds NATO boots provocative, but feels no shame in raining ballistic missiles on children's schools. In the United States, the Secretary of State Marco Rubio has said the world will know in a matter of weeks whether Moscow is serious about peace. Zelensky would likely agree that we already know. The bombed-out remains of Kyiv's television studios, the funeral processions in Zelensky's hometown, and the charred factories in Kharkiv speak louder than Kremlin talking points. Zelensky is walking a tightrope. He must remain open to diplomacy, lest he be seen as intransigent, but he must also protect his people against a regime that uses the very language of peace as cover for its continued aggression. His central claim is sobering, that Russia uses negotiations not as a bridge to compromise, but as a pause to reload. And this is the dilemma the West must now confront. If diplomacy is to mean anything, it must be conditional on good faith. A ceasefire must cease fire. Promises must not be followed by payloads, and to treat Putin's words as meaningful while ignoring his missiles is to confuse process with progress. The true test for Moscow will not be found in its rhetoric, but in its restraint. Until then, Zelensky's warning deserves to be our compass. This is how Russia reveals its true intentions: to continue the terror for as long as the world allows it. And we would do well to ensure that the world stops allowing it.